What's up, guys? It's Crash, and having some morning coffee this morning, checking out what happened on the internet last night. It appears there was a leak on Reddit that was a pretty substantial one, confirming a lot of what Tom has been saying. There's some spots where they differed. Tom has tweeted about that a few hours ago, and I just kind of want to break it all down. And honestly, I almost didn't cover this stuff just because it's all rumors still. Taking everything with a grain of salt. I mean, possibly garlic and pepper at this point. And I'm so ready for official news that I almost didn't make a video about this, but I want to keep this channel an all-inclusive resource for you guys for everything about Battlefield 2021. So today we're going to talk about it. I'm going to do my very best to kind of organize everything into three main parts of this video for you guys, so it's easy to kind of digest and skip around where you want to. So of all these things going on this morning, the three main parts of the video I'm going to try to break it down into and organize is we're going to start with a tweet that Tom mentioned about campaign, and then there's going to be a section with where they disagree, where Tom and this supposed leaker disagree, and then we're going to include some new things, some TLDR from the Reddit leak itself. Now, this Reddit leak claims to have talked to somebody that worked on Battlefield and left the company a few months ago. This was not confirmed, so we are definitely still in foil at territory, but let's try to organize our thoughts a little bit, take a look at all this stuff and break it down. So the first thing I want to talk about is what Tom tweeted kind of later on in the exchange, in the thread, if you will, is that he tweeted, "I have not heard there's a campaign. What I originally heard was on actually the plot." So the things we're going to talk about later with mercenaries is in relation to multiplayer. And I put this at the beginning of the video because I feel like it's important, and I want to know what you guys think in the comments below. How would you feel if there was no campaign in Battlefield 2021? And this might mean, and I don't know what this means. This could mean that they're going to do war stories again. And honestly, I think war stories would fit really well in a live service model because they can add to it. It's easy to add, individual stories from across the globe about the conflict that the game covers. And I just wanted to put this out there at the beginning. The things we're going to talk about later on have to do with multiplayer and factions and mercenaries and countries represented. But I thought it was interesting. He hasn't heard at this point that there's a campaign. He's heard a lot of other stuff, but to not have heard about a campaign yet, I just want to know. Some games have done this in the past, like Black Ops 4 with Call of Duty didn't have a campaign. And personally, I play the campaign at the beginning, and then, a game lasts a year or two, or this game hopefully lasts even longer than that and continues to be supported, and you kind of forget about the campaign. I think war stories would work out pretty well because, with every DLC, they could add another war story for the people who enjoy single player. But yeah, I just want to know what you guys think about that in the comments. Now let's talk about things that they disagree on. So I'm going to need some coffee for this one. So where they disagree is as far as how the countries are represented in the overall conflict. And I'm going to leave a link to this Reddit post in the description down below so you guys can check it out and read it for yourselves, what all they've written. But essentially where they disagree, Tom tweeted that he just read the Reddit leak for Battlefield. For example, if you were on the US team, you could choose the US, Australian, British, French, Japanese, or German soldier. That is not correct. Someone asked him another question. So the Japanese are good and or bad no matter which side you choose. He says, yes, you pick whichever side you want. The plot is that both USA and Russia will hire anyone who is willing to fight for them as long as they have the skills to do so. So essentially what the Reddit leak is saying is that there are aligned countries, and they give the example of Australia, UK, France, Japan, and German is aligned with the US, and then the other countries are aligned with Russia. So if you want to play as one of those countries, you are tied to that faction. What Tom says is that it's a free-for-all. Like if you want to be a Japanese soldier, you can fight for US or Russia, whichever one you want to pick. Honestly, this gives a lot of creativity for customization of soldiers, and it lets people from all over the world play how they want to or who they want to. But it might get a little weird on the battlefield if there could be a soldier from you know, for instance, Japan on both sides wearing the same clothes fighting against each other. That would be a little weird. I want to know what you guys think about that in the comments as well, but that's essentially where the two sources conflicted. So now I want to talk about stuff from the leak that's fairly new that I haven't heard about yet. Kind of a TLDR on the Reddit leak itself. I should actually be calling it a rumor. Anyways, it says vehicles will be like Battlefield 5 and attrition is coming back for vehicles. And I kind of think this is good for balancing. So, you know, vehicles do some damage, they have to go back, they have to find resources, they have to repair, they have to get more ammo. And I think this is good for balancing. It gives infantry a chance to kind of recoup, or maybe, you know, take advantage of a tank that's out of ammo. It says the spawn system will be like Battlefield 4 for vehicles, and they will have a tech tree or upgrades again. Saying 10 to 12 maps at launch, which I think is pretty decent, because they also mentioned that the maps are going to be massive. So a lot of launch content gets me very excited. I feel like starting with large maps and then working down and making smaller game modes on those maps is a great way to use content and be efficient with the maps in the game. It says the operations type game mode is returning, nothing earth shattering there. They did say that weather changes will be on every map at launch. Tom has talked about avalanches, tornadoes. In this Reddit rumor, they talk about wildfires. And this sounds like it's really going to be a big deal in the game. Again, like I said in my video covering this, I really hope it's used tastefully and it doesn't become annoying while you're trying to fight. If you're in a gunfight, then all of a sudden you can't see the screen shaking. I mean, it's going to look cool, but like I've said a ton of times, I hope it's used tastefully and doesn't affect gameplay too much. I love the idea of changing the gameplay midway through the map. And that's what they also say, that it could change how you play the game, as far as, you know, even changing the color of the map if a fire comes through. Now certain camos will stick out more, routes to flags will change and stuff like that. I think that's great for replayability. And they also reiterate that the weather changes are for gameplay and simply not for looks, like I was talking about. It changes the map and it changes how you play. So essentially, that's all I had for today, guys. I wanted to try to take what everything's going on and organize it just a little bit so it's easy to digest for you guys. I appreciate you very much for watching. As always, don't forget to get out there, level up IRL, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you so much.